Hello everybody, welcome back to the Final Fantasy Tactics walkthrough. The last video was Dorder Trade City, I think we're at? Yeah. And this is the Zekless Desert, or the, what is it also called? Sand Rat Cellar or something like that? No, I can't remember. Check here. Cellar of the Sand Mouse. Wow, okay, that was way off. Alright. So this one, our troops are going to be split up a little bit. To be frankly, well, just to be honest, it's not going to make that much of a difference. Again, I'm bringing the dancers, so it doesn't really matter where they're at and where the enemy is at, obviously. But all right, so we've got some Deathcore Knights here. Let's see here. Forget the Deathcore. Run before you get killed. We'll die even if we follow Wygref. Exactly. If we get a ransom for the Marquis like Gustav planned, we can get out of this, or we can get a lot of money out of it. So is that what he said? Gosh, I missed that last little bit of dialogue. My bad. Okay, so these are apparently just the guards. As far as strategy here, okay, so normally if I wasn't bringing a bunch of dancers, I would say there's a couple of different things you can do here. If you can't take like the damage from a bunch of these different enemies, what you might want to do is just run whoever you're. I guess if you have got two more tanky characters, you can stick them in the doorways and essentially not let them out. And then you could line up a healer or two behind your tankier characters and just kind of go to town that way. So that's one way to do it. So the other thing would be is if you've got archers or something, you might be able to stick people again in the doorway. And then if you've got bows, not crossbows, mind you, but if you've got bows, you could shoot over your allies and onto the enemies there. So lots of different tactics, and then on top of that too, if you've got somebody that's able to cast some magic, if you've got a wizard or something, you can run them up and cast over the walls. So that would work too. Lots of different strategies that you can use, that's for sure. Obviously with me and my dancers here, I'm just going to break dance outside and bring the pain from afar. You can see these guys just don't really have a whole lot of health either, so they're not going to last long. But yeah. So one thing I actually want to bring up here, normally in my playthroughs I do a lot more stealing than I have so far. But to be honest, or I should say, okay, so let me back up. Why is that? So generally, every single battle that you go into, generally, again, this isn't always going to be the case, but generally, there's going to be some equipment that you don't have, yet, or have access to yet. And typically that equipment becomes available, after that battle or after a battle or two. So generally, the enemies that you fight will have decent gear, and so if you're really short on cash, actually stealing can be a good way to kind of get an edge. And obviously you'll be stealing equipment that's better than what you've currently got, as well as then on top of that, you don't have to buy it then either, so you don't have to wait until after the battle and then buy it from a store. So there's that. Obviously there's a ton of different ways to make money in the game, and I don't know that I would really put stealing at the top of my list as far as how to make money, but it is there, and I guess there's something to be said for that. But I would say that I'm going to limit the amount of stealing that I do in general, just because it's really going to slow down these videos. So you know, again, I'm gonna minimalize that. Now, there's definitely going to be a battle or a few battles here and there that I will take the time to steal an item or two from, and I'll probably, you know, have specific reasons for that, and I will obviously when we get there talk about those reasons. But again, for the most part, I'm going to try to avoid that, just to keep the walkthrough kind of going. But again, I guess keep in mind that that's kind of a decent way to make some cash, as well as, I would say, kind of get a leg up, you know, on the enemies. Now, then on top of that, sometimes you'll face battles where you'll do multiple battles in a row, and not have a chance to shop between those battles. So that's, to be honest though, that's going to be few and far between though as well. And you know, I don't know that I would say stealing is going to be that great of a way to, you know, help you out in those upcoming battles, but it can. And again, when those times pop up, I will talk about that. But anyways, all right. So here we've got Wygriff and Gustav, obviously arguing. Gustav is. I think they're having. So my impression again was that Gustav is kind of one of the higher ranking people in the Death Corps, and they're obviously having a pretty substantial argument that's going to end up in Gustav's death. I think they had it was more of an argument about the. It's a pretty substantial argument again. I think that they've got some differing opinions on how to go about achieving their goals. But here he basically says, "Hey, I'll let you, you know, or I'll give up the marquee as long as you let me go." And here Algus is really pushing it. He wants it all, I guess. He wants to get the marquee back as well as punish Wygriff. Alright, so Delita says there, don't, you know, let him go. The Death Corps is going to destroy itself, so don't risk your own life. And alright, so there's the marquee. That is not the last time we will see him. But alright, so let's head back to Igros. I would say definitely save your game at this point. We've got a couple of areas that are potential spots for random encounters. Now, I got lucky and I made it all the way to Igros Castle without getting into any of those random encounters, but you know, it is possible to run into these random encounters, and then, you know, if you're not prepared, you could be in trouble. Now, again, because my characters are so leveled up, any of these random encounters will be more difficult, I would say, than they normally would be at this point. And then actually on the way back to Igros, I'd say check out the shops as well. You never know when the shops are going to upgrade, and they honestly frequently upgrade their wares. So again, always check with the shops, and keep in mind though too that a lot of the towns sell different things. So just because you see something in one town doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be in another. So again, I would say check every town that you come across. Alright, so here obviously we went after the thieves, or the Death Corps, against Dystarg's judgment, I suppose. And Delita says, hey, it was my fault, kind of covering or trying to cover for Ramza. And Ramza's like, no, that wasn't Delita's idea, it was mine. And here, it's ironic that Dystarg says that, you know, the Beowulfs need to follow the law. And he's kind kind of threatens him and says, "Hey, what are you trying to do? Destroy our good name?" Which is kind of interesting. But all right, so here's Prince Larg. So if it wasn't obvious already, or if I didn't mention it before, Dystarg and Larg are allied, obviously, which would then mean that Goltana and his troops then would be our enemies. But there's actually a bit more to this dialogue than maybe meets the eye. There's and here's where it kind of comes to light, where obviously these two are alone, and so then they can talk a little more freely. So Gustav wasn't much of it. So obviously, okay, they must have hired Gustav then, but the plan wasn't to be changed after the. Oh, I missed that. Besides, he'd save the Marquis's life. We must accept our demands. Your brother's actions turned the tide for us. The king doesn't have much time to live. We must hurry. So obviously, these two are in league and plotting. So more to come on that. But anyways, I gotta cut this. So hope this guide was helpful. And as always, hope you join me for more videos. Thanks for watching.